Hi, I'm Elder Ken. I'm one of the elders in this church, World Mission Fellowship. Uh, didn't get saved in this church. I got saved back in 1984, quite a while back. Came into contact with this church through our pastor, our senior pastor, Pastor Dennis, through work. We met sort of supernaturally because we used to witness in our job, in the company that we worked for. He was in one department, I was in the maintenance department. He was in the installation department. And we heard about each other through the same person that we were witnessing to. And he suggested that we should link up because we were always talking about Jesus. It just so happens that one day I was driving this van, the company van, and I saw this young man with a tool bag, and straight away he's like, I knew it was Pastor. And at the time it wasn't Pastor, it was just Dennis as I knew him. And then we met and started praying together every day. We met together in the morning for breakfast, we met at lunchtime, we met after church, after work. It was a constant prayer. That really changed my life, meeting Pastor Dennis, my prayer life anyway, because we already know that he was a man of prayer even before he became a pastor. And the impact that he had on the job, as well as seeing people getting saved in a very rich area. We prayed everywhere. We learned to pray on the streets, we prayed in the van, we prayed everywhere. One of the things we prayed for, I remember, I got married, I think a couple of years after I got saved. And then he was a single man at the time. And I remember one of the things I used to pray for, I was praying for my wife to have a child. And I remember praying for that. And I think not long after, a year or so after, my wife got pregnant and we had a daughter, a lovely, beautiful daughter. That daughter grew up, wanted to become a teacher, went to uni. And as a father, obviously you love your daughter and you want the best for her. She left home. We remember taking her to that university, like you do, and the fears that probably come upon you. She's leaving home now. She's going to be herself. How would she manage? Whatever. But she was a studious young girl. She's had the ambition always to become a teacher. Started going to uni. And then something really hit us in our lives that really shook me and shook my wife. And I think it's a fear that would probably come upon most fathers as well as parents whose child is in university. And also she's a Christian girl because she got saved, got baptized. But I remember one day she came with it's Pat, my wife, came to me and said, Kadia is pregnant. That shook my whole world. It's hard to put into words how I felt. But one of the feelings I felt is like somebody died. I wasn't angry. It shook my whole world. It shook Pat as well. And it devastated Kadia. She was broken. One of the things she felt so guilty that she actually let us down, knowing that I was somebody in the church. And I can't remember distinctly one of the things that she said, because when she got pregnant, we obviously had to let our pastors know. So we asked Pastor Dennis and Reverend Taylor to come to speak to us and to speak to Kadia. And she was so broken and in pieces because she felt that she'd really let us down. And I think that's one of the things that helped me to cope with that, because I know some parents can feel let down or feel hurt or feel angry. There was anger. But it's because of her brokenness and the way she felt that really broke me as well. And we felt that she'd let the church down as well as the family in that sense, that shame that came. And now in this day and age, people thinking it's all right to have a child outside of marriage. But obviously the Bible says and the standards we have, and she also knew. And I think most of all, she felt she'd let us down and people would look at me, because one of the things she said, I remember quite distinctly hearing, she said, to pastor that people are going to think that we were bad parents to allow her. Well, we didn't allow her to get pregnant. She did it. It just so happens she had a child. Turned out to be a beautiful boy. And then the father, we were praying for the father. He was not saved, and we didn't know how that would pan out regarding having a child outside of marriage. But the young man became a Christian. He got saved. He was a good young man. He was a person who had manners and respect. He came from that type of home. So therefore, that also helped the situation. But as a father, it's a brokenness that came over me. I remember one morning going to work, and one of my colleagues at breakfast, at the breakfast table, said to me, "Ken, are you okay?" And my eyes just filled with tears, and I just said, "My daughter's pregnant." Because it's hard to put in the words. It's like somebody died. But at the same time, when the child was born, that child became a blessing for us. And I love my grandson. I love my grandsons. I have another one since. But God can change things around. I know there's a lot of one-parent family now out there, one-parent parents out there. But also, as I became, at one stage, before Peg Kelly got married, I felt like to be a father also to my grandson. And I had that fatherly figure there for her. And I told her I'd always be there for you and for the child. But God turns things around, and Bernard got saved. And now they're very happily married, lovely children. And we thank God for that. So I can encourage people. Situation might seem bad, but when God is in it, He can turn it around. He can turn a mess into a blessing. And also, Kadia went back to university after taking time out, and is now a teacher, a very qualified teacher. And we have to thank God for that. He's just turned everything so well. And I love God, I love God, I love my children, I love my grandchildren to bits.